Let us start by just taking an easy forward fold. We've had some breathing time and sitting time, so let's go ahead and walk your hands forward however you're sitting and just start to breathe into your lower back. Releasing any tension or frustration that crept in there. You can stay in the center or move a little bit side to side, reaching that opposite hip down as you move to the side. And we'll go over to the other side. Good. Taking those full breaths out, opening the back of the hips. We'll come back to the center. And then come all the way up. Good. And let's go ahead and shift into our table. So one of the best poses for releasing the lower back is child's pose. But let's be a little bit more active today. So we'll take our cat-cow, breathing in, opening your chest. Breathing out, scooping and rounding. And just send that tailbone down, really scoop the belly, let your head release. You can nod your head yes or no. And we'll do that one more time. Breathing in, arching, hugging the shoulder blades onto your back. Breathing out, scooping, and let's hold this scoop. Really tuck that tailbone under, release your head. Stay active through your core here, and we're gonna take our deep child's pose. And let's bring your arms back by your feet. Try to send the tailbone down, and if it feels good, rock a little bit side to side. Big breath out. Good. Feeling that low back release. We'll reach the arms forward. We're going to round the back again to come up into table. Tuck the toes under and come right into downward dog with that rounded back. Then slowly extend the tailbone back. And let's just bend one knee at a time, warming up our hamstrings, stretching your calf. Excuse me. Changing legs when you're ready. Good. And then just starting to feel that energy down through the feet and the hands, up through the tailbone. We'll walk your feet up towards your hands. Let's keep the knees bent and just take a few breaths in ragdoll. Maybe grabbing those elbows. You could add a little twist here. But keep a soft bend in your knees so that lower back is rounded. Good. And then wherever you are with your arms, release your hands. Use your core muscles to round your spine up. Good. And then just roll the shoulders out. So we'll just take, running a little behind schedule. We'll go over a couple of minutes if that's okay with everybody. So let's take just 2 rounds of Surya Namaskara A to get flowing. So find that energy down through the soles of the feet, up through the crown of the head, and even here, feel that energetic lift in the low belly and lower back. And we'll start our Surya Namaskara A. Inhale. Exhale, use the core to fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, stepping back, plank to lower. Scooping through, keeping that tailbone long through cobra. Exhale, back up in one piece. Downward dog for 3 breaths. And again, feel that energy in the lower back lengthen. We'll step up using the abdominal muscles. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale. And we'll sweep out to come up. Exhale through the center, one more round. And take your own speed here. Feel free to rest in child's pose if you need to. And we're lowering in one piece. If you're ready, maybe take an upward dog or cobra. all the way back up. 3 breaths. Hugging those outer arms in, reaching through the heels. We'll step up. And let's grab the calves, pull yourself into a strong Uttanasana. And then release, sweep out to come up. Exhale. Good. So finding your stability through your base, let's go ahead and take our stork pose into warrior 3 today. So we'll lift that right knee up, relax your shoulders down. You can stay here feeling the evenness on the hips with your hands, or if you're ready, reach your arms up. Pulling out of the lower back. If you have lower back issues, you don't have to go all the way into warrior 3, but let's squeeze those inner thighs together to start to kick back. Maybe you just pause here, or eventually come into the full Virabhadrasana 3, reaching through your heel, pulling through the hands. One more breath, and then we'll inhale, come back into stork. Good. Exhale, lower. Good morning. Second side, getting right into it. So finding that even breath, easy shoulders. And then maybe taking the arms up. This is going to help us pull off the hips out of that lower back. When you feel ready, going right through that narrow corridor here as you kick back into your version of Virabhadrasana 3. Strong core and back here. And then when you're ready, squeezing through the inner thighs to come back up into stork. Beautiful. Good. And we'll exhale, release. Let's take a break. Any Uttanasana to stretch out your back. You might feel good to sway a little bit side to side. Good. And we'll come back through the center. Let's round up again. So you stretch out your back. Good. Okay. So one more standing balance. Let's take our Vrikshasana today, and you can move a little bit. So I like to hold the shin, let that femur drop down so you can be easeful in your hip flexor. Find that lift off the hips. Then we'll open. And you can stay here or head into the full pose if you're ready. But again, navel to back, lift off both hips. We'll take the arms out and up. And then if you're ready for a fun variation today, maybe tilt over towards that branch. So you can stay upright or even lean into that standing leg. Finding that smoothness of the breath. You can always start again. And then we'll slowly come up. Good. And change leg. Shake out that leg. So that's kind of a nice way to open the side body. So this is our left leg up. Easing both hips down, dropping that femur down. When you're ready, externally rotate without sinking in the hips. So we're still lifting out of that lower back, taking your Vrikshasana. And you could always change your gaze, challenging the balance or trying that side tilt version. Something a little bit different, keeping you right into the present moment. One more breath. Good. And then we'll inhale. Nice job staying with the present moment. Release. Let's shake it out. We're going to take half of a sun salute A to get into our downward dog. So finding the fluidity. Exhale. Inhale. We're just going to step right back into downward dog. Feel even on all fours here. Maybe look at the hands, spread out the fingers, plant those feet, and really lift the tailbone up. Maybe bending the knees. And let's take a pause. Knees to the mat, child's pose or half dog. Just let yourself settle, melting the forehead down into the floor. Good. And then we're going to come back into table, back into our downward dog. And let's take the feet just a little bit closer to your hands. So maybe you need to bend the knees for that to happen. We're going to look forward, see if you can press both feet down, cup your right hand. Using that strong left arm here, we're going to reach the right arm forward. Just for 1 or 2 breaths, press both feet down. This aggravates your neck, you can look down. Exhale, release your hand, shift, second side. So you can also stay here with the fingertips on the mat. Use your core to help you keep those hips up. And that takes the weight out of that wrist, reaching the left fingertips forward. 2 more breaths. Nice strong legs. We'll exhale, release, lower your head, and just shake out your neck a little bit. We're going to do that same practice with the legs. So from downward dog, lift that right leg up. We're going to turn it inward, so that standing split action. And just take 2 breaths here. Pressing in all 3 bases of support. Exhale, release. Right leg down, change sides. So shifting, lifting the left leg up. And I'm trying to activate those hips, lifting them up, using the core and back. Last breath out. Exhale, release, child's pose or half dog. And that's a lot in the wrist. So let's swirl those wrists out. Good. And then we're going to come back into table. So instead of using our usual opposite arm and leg balance that we often do, let's go right into Vashisthasana today. So if you need to, you could bring your forearm down to take the strain out of the wrist and take your side plank this way. Or if you're ready for the full pose, we'll come back into downward dog. Go ahead and walk your feet back, bringing the big toes together. So getting that nice hamstring stretch. When you're ready, float over to your right foot and your right hand. Left arm's gonna come up. And let's just keep the legs together today. Squeeze those inner thighs together. Maybe looking up at the top thumb. Getting our upper body strength back, core strength. 1 more breath. High hips. Exhale back into downward dog. We're only holding about 3 breaths on each side. When you're ready, big toes together so you can feel that squeeze through the inner thighs. Over to that left foot and left hand. And notice if one side feels stronger or more stable. Press down through the hand and foot, lift those hips up, maybe eyes up. Exhale, good job. Back into downward dog. Let's take a vinyasa here. Plank, lift the belly up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, nice strong arms, everybody. Good stuff. Exhale, we'll come back up into plank. Downward dog. Good, so feeling even right to left. Beautiful, let's bring the knees to the mat and we'll take our shoulder stretch, thread the needle. Right arm's gonna come up, open the chest, exhale. And use your core here to turn. Maybe bringing this left arm overhead or even to that lower back. Breathe and open. 1 more deep breath in. Let's exhale through the mouth. And we'll release back up into table. Good, and let's re-extend that right arm up. So we end with the shoulder open. Exhale. Second side. So using that breath out to squeeze. And just check in with your neck here. It could always just be easeful through the head or take a bigger twist by looking up. Hips stay high. Big, big breaths out. Getting rid of all that indulgence from the holiday season. We'll bring your right hand to the mat. Inhale, lift the belly up. Re-extend that arm open. Good, and we'll release. Beautiful, we're gonna do one more downward dog just to feel those shoulders. Nice long lower back. Let's take the right leg up and open the hip this time. Bend the right knee, bend the left knee. Reach those inner thighs apart. If you'd like to step back, keep the hips high. You can flip the dog over. Really opening the heart. And then we'll shoot that leg back up. Exhale, scoop your knee towards your nose, round your back. We're just gonna hold that for one breath. Nice strong core, re-extend the leg back up. Exhale, so that's kind of our handstand practice for today. Left leg's gonna come up, open the hip. Bend your knee, bend the left knee. Find that lift out of the lower back and maybe step back. Opening into your wild thing, good. Open heart, one more round. To shoot back up, let's look at the right hand. Shoot the leg back up. Exhale, scoop in. Hold for one breath. Beautiful. And then we'll release. Good stuff, everybody. So one more forward fold. Walk those feet towards your hands. Bent knees or straight legs. If you have the space, you could stand on the hands. That's going to stretch out our wrists after Vashisthasana. Shift. Come into one more strong Uttanasana. Good. And then we'll release your hands. Nice. And let's just heel toe your feet wide for a squat. So squats can release the lower back too, because you can hook that tailbone under. You can lift up here or round your back. And just feel grateful that we made it through the standing solar phase of the practice. Our Wi-Fi is working and we're back on track. Let's have a seat. Coming into Baddha Konasana. And you could rock a little bit. This opens the pelvis. Feeling both sits bones down into the mat. We'll take our head towards the feet. And let's go ahead and add our turtle here. Right arm's gonna come under that right shin. Just bring your hands towards your feet today. Adding the left side, coming inward. Good, and we'll slowly get the arms back out from our turtle. Inhale, come on up. Roll the shoulders around. So I just want to do a couple little Mula Bandha lifts here. If you need to, you could sit up on something, but let's start by crossing your ankles, bringing the fingertips to the mat, and the first thing we're going to do is just lift the legs up. So just finding that nice lift out of that lower back. If this is easy for you, you can take the hands off the floor. Good, and then we'll release, just easy Sukhasana. Come forward again, stretching the back of the hips. And then we'll slowly sit back up. Good, and shake out your legs. Let's cross, so we have our new leg. This would be your left leg in the front. So you can imagine what's coming here. We're gonna work towards our pendant pose or scale pose. So let's keep Sukhasana legs one more time. Press your fingertips down, lift the legs up. So this is working our upper or our second to third chakra. Maybe taking the hands away. If you're feeling brave, lift the arms up. Good. And then we'll release. So we're gonna take our time today. If you do lotus pose, which I don't usually do, but you could take half lotus or the full pose. I'll just show you for a second, setting us up for our lift. So this is actually easier to bind the legs. Otherwise, we had our left leg in front. Bring your hands down by your hips. We're gonna lean forward, press your hands down and feet down, lift the hips up. If you have the space and strength, lift your feet up, breathing out. Good, and then we'll lower. Awesome, so feeling that Mula Bandha. Let's shake out the legs one more time. And we're gonna get back on track into our seated forward fold. So let's take the left leg forward, right leg in, Janu Shirshasana A or B. Reaching behind for the foot for B. We'll lift up, exhale, and let's have something to pull on. You could use your mat like a strap. If you have lots of space, you could put a block in front of your foot and pull so you get that nice stretch in the lower back. Really using that exhale to get lower. Good. Activate through that left foot, opening the hamstring. We'll release. Inhale, come up. We're gonna pick up the knee. Take a twist towards your right. And use your hand behind you. Let me give you the side view here. Use your hand behind you to lift out of that lower back. One more breath. Exhale, come back to the center, reach forward, shift, and lift. If you need to, use your hands to get that lift up through the Mula Bandha. One more breath. We'll exhale, lower, shake out your leg. And let's take that same two poses on your other side. So Janu Shirshasana A or B. Lifting up, placing your prop if you're using something to actively pull with your arms. Good, using that breath out to get lower. And then we'll release. Inhale, come up for our twist. Wrapping and lifting out of that lower back. And again, feeling both sits bones down. Exhale, release. Maybe challenging yourself not to hold on to the floor or the leg as you shift forward. Press into that standing foot. Good. Breathe out. Last exhale. Lower the leg. Good job. Shake out the legs. All right, moving right along. Let's take our Paschimottanasana and then we're going to curl up and down. So find that deep forward fold. And this is one of the hardest forward bends you can do. I sound like a broken record, but with the legs flat against the floor, hamstrings are extended fully. So just notice where you feel that stretch. You don't feel much in the low back and it's straining behind your knees. You could always put your hands behind your knees. Last full breath out. We'll inhale, lengthen to come up. And we're gonna scoop that tailbone under, curl up and down. Just 3. Feeling that energy through your feet. Strong legs. Breathe out. Try to use the abdominal muscles, not your arm momentum. That's 1. 2 more to go. Big breath out as you scoop under. Good. 1 more. Try to feel long as you can in that lower back. You can hold on to the outer thighs. Sometimes that helps you scoop and round. And that's our last one. So we're gonna curl back. Once you get down there, go ahead and reach your arms overhead. The pivot, so you get the side view. And just take a few breaths here, opening the front. Good. And let's go ahead and hug your knees in and just massage out that lower back. So friends with a tight lower back, laying on your back, hugging the knees in, this is a much better version of child's pose. You have that tightness. And we're gonna breathe out, squeeze your head up to your knees, hold for 1 breath. And I'm really pressing my shins down with my hands. And I'll exhale, lower shoulders and head. And let's just float open into happy baby. Could rock here, whatever feels good on your back. Maybe extend 1 leg at a time. Good. And for our inversion today, let's think about plow pose or our rocks. So knees can come in. If you're doing the rocks, hold your feet, stay rounded as you inhale, rock back, exhale, rock up. If you're moving into plow pose, maybe try today to reach feet overhead, maybe arms overhead. Holding the feet, you can flex the feet. Just protecting your neck. If you need the support under the lower back, go for it. So rocking or halasana, 5 breaths. And there's Kurma Padasana. You can wrap your knees around your ears. Even going a little side to side in your plow is interesting, as long as your neck is happy. Last 2 breaths. If you have those feet, see if you can keep your arms there. Very mindfully, we'll start to roll down. Trying to stay as close to the legs as you can, moving as slowly and sequentially as you can. And if you need to bend the knees at any point, feel free. Lowering. Good. And then let's try our fish pose today. So I'm going to cross the legs into Sukhasana, bring my hands behind the hips, press the forearms down. We'll lift the chest up and dip your head back. You can just see how this goes. You might just be here. We'll hold for 1 more breath. And then lifting, releasing back down. Let's just take a moment here. We'll all get back on the same page. Good. And finding that softness now in the front of the body. Beautiful. And let's take your hands to your outer thighs, gather the knees in, and we're going to come back into that embryo, child's pose shape on your back. And we'll start to move into our twists. So keeping this forward fold in the hips, you might even take a block in between your knees. We're going to exhale, lower the legs to your right. And you could stay here. If you want to go deeper, hook right arm behind that left knee and pull the left knee up. And that's a good one for the lower back too. Definitely into your outer hip. 2 more deep breaths. And then use that 3rd one to come back to the center, breathing out, scooping the knees in, over to your left. Maybe hugging that right knee up towards the chest if you want to go deeper. Getting that nice, delicious stretch all the way into that outer hip and lower back. Finding that space in the lower back. Good. And then we'll use one more breath out. Come back onto your back. Beautiful. And let's interlace our hands around that right shin. We're going to lower the left leg all the way down. So you get that nice stretch behind the right hip. Extend your right leg up. And take this one anywhere you want. You could do head to knee, working the core more. Good. And let's bring our left hand to the top of that left hip. Press your left hip down as you open your leg to the right. You're trying to keep those shoulders on the mat, long lower back. Good. And we'll slowly come back up. We're not going to move into the full twist today. We're going to take that IT band stretch. So we'll switch hands, keeping this right hip on the mat, just cross over the midline a few inches. So you feel that really deep stretch in that outer hip. Press your belly down, press your tailbone down. Good, and then we're gonna come back up with the leg towards the ceiling. Extend both arms overhead for our warrior three. And let's interlace your fingers, pull the index fingers up, press your back down. Keeping that space in the lower back, lower the legs slowly. Beautiful, and then we'll just relax here. Lower the arms, you can turn your head side to side if you've got a little tense in your neck. And we're gonna go a couple minutes over just to catch up from our late start today. So let's go ahead and hug the left knee in. If you have somewhere you need to be, feel free to move into Shavasana after this stretch. Stretch that lower back. When you're ready, take your hamstring stretch. And just try to get that space back into your lower back. Good, and we'll bring right hand to the top of the right hip. Press your hip down as you open the leg to your left. The more you can breathe out, the better. I'm staying active through the legs here so I can really lengthen that tailbone down. One more breath. And we'll bring the leg back up to the center for our IT band stretch. So I'm just crossing over that midline. Sometimes lowering the leg gives you a better outer hip stretch. Just a few breaths here. I'm trying to stay even through your ankle. Sometimes we sickle the foot a little bit, so reach through this big toe side of the ball of the foot. One more breath. We're gonna come back to the center. Keeping that delicious hamstring space, arms overhead. Pull the index fingers away from that right heel. Press your belly down. Good, and then we'll slowly lower. Awesome, and then gently release the arms, the legs. So depending on what you're dealing with in your household, you might choose to take Shavasana onto the belly today, which is very calming. Or we were talking about placing something behind the knees, block, rolled blanket to bring you into that forward bend. Or one of my favorites, constructive rest pose. So this is a nice one for opening the low back. Having your feet about hip distance, toes are gonna come in, heels go out. So the knees are falling in towards each other to open the low back. Arms can cross, hugging your opposite shoulder. So wherever you are, move into stillness. And allow yourself to be nurtured by your breath. And start to visualize that beautiful place in nature where you feel calm and relaxed. As you look down at yourself from above, see your tailbone, pelvic floor glowing red. Feel safe. See your lower back and abdomen glowing orange. Feel free. See the space between the ribs like a golden sun. Feel empowered. See your heart center glowing green. Feel compassion towards yourself and others. See your neck glowing with bright blue light. Feel clear and communicative. See your forehead and third eye shining indigo light. Feel wise. And see the top of the head glowing purple. Feel connected to the universal source in your spirit. Know that you are perfect in this present moment, just as you are. And start to take a deeper breath in through the nose, sigh out through your mouth. Feel grateful. And start to move back into the fingers and toes. Let that movement guide you into a stretch or a yawn, whatever feels natural. Remembering that this blissful state is the goal of our asana practice. So lingering there, when you feel ready, we'll move over to your right side and come up to a seat. Knowing that all is well that ends well. Thank you so much for practicing with me today and being patient and flexible and strong, all of our attributes of yoga. So we'll come to a close, bring your palms into Anjali Mudra, coming back to that intention you set at the start of the practice. Om Mani Padme Hum, compassion to all sentient beings. Shanti, peace. Namaste.